Hey y'all, beautiful people. I wanted to let some people get into the room. I'm going to apologize for pretty much rescheduling our live, but in all honesty, the energies are definitely rife. So God gave me the day off, to be honest with you guys. There's been a lot sort of taking place emotionally. There's a lot of stuff that's really sort of coming up. Hey, beautiful people, how are you guys doing? Lovely to have you guys in the building. There's so much going on, so I can't wait to unpack this stuff for you guys because there's a lot. Yes, you may be added to the list, Erie. We are definitely game to add you to the list. Let's get things started. I'm doing good, maybe. I'm doing God right now. I wasn't earlier. I've been listening to prayers all day. I've been centering my spirit. God gave me the day off yesterday because things have been exhausting, to say the least. So I'm just back in a place now where I'm centered, focused, back in the spirit and vibration of God, so we can let some stuff unfold tonight. I'm gonna get the dramatics going, guys. Wait right there, okay? Stick a pin in it. We're gonna get the show started. Right, guys. Now that that's out the way, oh, it's lovely to see you too, Shreya. Lovely to have you in the building. Let's get this party started, guys, because there's so much, I'm sure, taking place for everyone. We're going through these deprogramming phase, right? This Scorpio new moon energy, we're kind of like letting go of some of the programming that's no longer serving. So it's intense, to say the least. Let's go ahead and start shooting the questions out there, and I'll get the cards ready to kind of see what's going on. So I think we've got Maybe and Erie, and then Shreya. I don't know if Pumpkin's still in the building. But yes, if you guys can start throwing the questions out there, we'll just get things going. Okay. Yes, Shreya, we've definitely 11/11 has been overwhelming. It has been. We'll definitely unpack some of this stuff. Thank you all for your questions. So just to quickly speak about the 11/11 portal, manifesting is taking place really quickly. So we are getting a lot of stimulation. So the shadows are pretty much being a stimulus at this point for us, motivating ourselves to move into like these new paradigms of existence. But the shit is hard, guys. I can't even lie. It's a lot. It's very dense energies at the minute. So yeah, let's kind of unpack the stuff for you guys. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of going on from that portal, to be fair. So just hold that thought there, Shreya. Hold that thought. Okay, so we're gonna go with Erie's question because that's the first question that's out there. Let's go to the romance deck, and I'm also still going to clarify with the tarot as well. Oh, lovely to have you in the building as well, Erie. This is an interesting space. I see you're getting some clarity as far as your process unfolding, because it seems like things are getting a little bit more clear in terms of any distortion. So this is good. I'm going into your stuff now, Erie. So hopefully you're still present in the room, just in case I've got any questions. Okay. What do you see as far as the dynamic romantically for Dee and Erie? Okay. Past life relationship. So do you guys have some history? What's the situation with D? I can see that there's genuinely an attraction that's there. I can see that they make you feel comfortable and somewhat safe. But what's the history? Give us some insight. Hopefully you're still in the room, Erie. Can't actually. This live thing here is not really showing so much what's actually going on behind the scenes over there with you guys. So if you're still in the room, Erie, give us some insight into the dynamics. Oh, Pumpkin, I didn't realize you were still in the building as well. Beautiful. We'll definitely get to your question. So thank you for putting that out there. Is Erie still here? Erie, clarify. Okay. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot. Okay. Right, Erie. What I'm seeing with the relationship dynamics. Okay. Oh, there's definitely some history here. Yes, please, beautiful. Please do, because you know this is going to start to get chaotic real soon. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. What I see with this dynamic here is that there's some history that needs to kind of be clarified here. There's some sort of situation to do with a home dynamic. Is it a complicated situation? Help me to understand. I don't know if Erie's still in the building. Erie, give us some clarity. From what I can see with the situation, the dynamics of it seems like there's still some stuff that needs to be clarified. It may be some dynamics from the other relationship that may need to be clarified. I don't think that now is necessarily a good time to go ahead and develop as far as relationship. Going deeper into being open to the possibility of relationship, yes, it looks like there's still some mess going on beneath in the background, behind the scenes. That's the best way that I can put it. I think that they are potentially a good candidate. I just think that there's some things that needs to be cleared up on their side. It seems like there's, how can I put it? Yeah, I don't even know if Erie's still in the building, but thank you, Pumpkin. What I'm seeing with the dynamics of the situation, there's still some stuff that needs to be clarified in terms of like another relationship dynamic. I don't know if they had a previous relationship that has any sort of connection to children as well. But potentially, yes, good candidate right now. Let things kind of clear up a little bit. It seems like things are a little bit tricky, but for the most part, I can tell that they make you feel comfortable, and it's a natural chemistry. Yeah. I hope that that's useful for you, Erie. I don't know if you were in the building to be able to sort of like help us unpack some stuff, then we could have actually gone a little bit deeper into the space. But, and however, I guess that answers your question. Let's have a little look and see May's question. May. Oh. Why doesn't your ex want to release you? God, my love, that's a loaded question right there. That's definitely a loaded question. So a part of why they would struggle to release you is codependency. I know, yes, I did sort of see Yes, it is a codependency sort of like situation. It's a power thing. It's not necessarily so much that, how can I put it? Oh, look at that. Pumpkins handling the room. We love that. Thank you, beautiful. I feel like it's more so they're in a power struggle with you. It's not necessarily that, yeah, it's not necessarily that they want to kind of like be with you monogamously, but they also don't want to necessarily sort of like let go of a good thing. He's not necessarily sort of like, how can I put it? It's about values in this dynamic. He's not able to pay the value, I guess, of what you're worth. Your value is that you require is exactly as you have just said, consistency, which more than likely means you want a monogamous relationship. He's not necessarily at a place where he's willing to pay that price just yet, because he's just not, as much as he's into you, he's not necessarily ready to let go of his old habits and old ways. And I think it's, I don't see necessarily things changing. I don't even need the cards for this. I don't necessarily see things changing in terms of him wanting to be able to kind of like let go of the behavior. I think it's something, okay, so this is kind of more to do with insecurity. So this is something that actually feeds an insecurity. I don't think that he's at a place where he's optimized himself just yet, where he can, yeah, exactly, where he can let go of this behavior and stand on his own and actually be that for you. Is he going to stop trying to have his cake and eat it too? No, because that's his natural sort of like programming. I think that he's just not necessarily there just yet. He wants you, but not bad enough, is the best way that I can put it. He's not willing to pay the price, I guess, for you, which is to be able to disrupt that little pattern. How are you feeling about the situation? Are you ready to disengage from the pattern? Where are you with playing with this little game dynamic? Oh, I'm speaking to maybe, by the way. Oh, I know, I get that. Literally, this is the card we had come out for you. Express your love. I get that. I get that. And I understand. It's just he's not necessarily there yet. Are you willing to? And I get that. I get that. I get that the game's actually like pretty exhausting for you. I think that there's good potential there. I just don't think that he's ready to dismiss his behavior just yet. I do think that it's normal for him in this kind of environment to basically play this role. Okay. Have you guys had a real genuine heart to heart conversation about maybe the potential of pursuing a relationship seriously and exclusively? I don't know what his feedback would have been to that kind of conversation. I'm not going to sit and wait around for him to be ready. And that's pretty much what I'm trying to get clarity on, beautiful, because he's not necessarily there just yet. I think the dynamics right now is just comfortable for him. He's not ready to commit just yet. It's not necessarily where he's at. Yeah, I gather that. Because that's not where he's at in terms of his own dynamic at the minute. So the thing for you to do in this situation, we are in the Scorpio new moon energy and season. You get to decide what you want to do with this relationship dynamic. If you want to continue to engage in this dynamic, you require a lot of patience and understanding. and overstanding and some real inner standing thrown in, girl, because it that may be the price that he has to pay to learn this lesson. Okay. I don't necessarily think that he's there yet. And I think that in all honesty, he's kind of pretty much told you so much, like pretty much exactly that, by his actions and just the way that he chooses to handle things. So I think you technically do have your answer. I think it's just maybe growing in acceptance with that answer. And it may give you peace in the decision that you have to make. Okay. I hope that that was useful for you there, my love. I know, honestly, this Scorpio new moon energy is definitely giving us an opportunity for a lot of upgrades, but it does mean that certain relationship tides will be kind of taking new shape and form as a result. Yes, please, guys. Yes, please. Thank you, maybe, for sharing your space with us. And thank you, Eri, for sharing your space with us as well. We weren't able to unpack your stuff as I would have liked, but hey, hopefully we can get some more clarity on the situation another time. Right. Let's have a look. Okay, brilliant. Okay. What transition is coming next in my connection with Sagittarius? Oh, they're about to have a solar return season coming up after this. Oh God, solar returns are really quite hectic on relationships, guys. It's like the new upgrade of the new version sort of getting ready to come in and yeah, finishing up a lap. All right, let's have a little look, guys. What do you see sort of coming in the relationship dynamic for Shreya with M? Okay, thank you. Very clear. Thank you. Okay. Shreya. Okay, I'm gonna keep it troll because you know that's what we're here for. Okay, so what I'm seeing with the situation here in terms of the dynamics is it's still going to be hella stagnated. So what do I mean by that? There's still a lot of lack of clarity that you'll kind of be navigating through. There's still a lot of manipulation involved in the situation, potentially like mental manipulation more so than anything else, just by the actions that are taking place in terms of the dynamic. For the most part, I do see you being able to be in a position where you're actually quite grounded. You're actually quite grounded, regardless of the dynamic with the situation, because you're going through your growing process regardless. You're kind of like taking your opportunity to just grow despite whatever it is that's kind of taking place in this dynamic. What I'm seeing is that he's actually just very imbalanced. Emotionally, he's still quite volatile. This may be causing some moodiness for yourself as well. Yeah. No, because he's not technically, and this is the stuff, right? And I'm so glad that you put that out there, Shreya, because it just lets me know y'all are tapped into the energy, okay? This is how the transitions are taking place. At the minute, we are going through sort of like mental updating and programming. And in the meantime, it's like, I guess the counterparts that we are upgrading from these kind of like game dynamics, because we've learned the codes. We're like, okay, cool. Like this just isn't for me. I can't, this environment isn't conducive to my growth. Okay. It's not going to allow me to continue to thrive. Yeah, and this is the dynamic with the situation because of the incoming, so the I guess the downloads that you're receiving, the thoughts that they're kind of putting out there. So at the minute, he's not necessarily too sure about what it is that he wants to do because he's not necessarily willing to take the necessary actions to be able to get some sort of momentum going with the situation. There's a lot of hesitancy. There's a lot of second guessing and overthinking and over analyzing things and then putting things back in your court to kind of basically relinquish responsibility. Then it's like, well, I don't have to do anything, you are the one that's not doing anything type dynamic. Yeah, I think for the most part, you guys are going to be going through a transition of it. And I feel like this transition is you actually being able to kind of like have a different engagement with the dynamic. Yes, yes, there is. He's just not willing to talk about it. I think I put the ball in his court, yeah. Yeah, and he don't want it, man. He don't want it. And when I say that he doesn't want it, I mean that he doesn't want to have to make that decision because then he's going to have to be responsible for how he shows up in the space. And he's not necessarily willing to be able to meet your expectations just yet in terms of how you'd actually like him to show up for you in the space. But the good news is you're getting better at dealing with the disappointment of him being unreliable. Okay. So that's the plus. That's the transition that you're going through. And I guess he's going through his own transition. Sometimes the storm is necessary to be able to allow for us to get some clarity on where we need to sort of like, find peace. And he's just in a place where, hey, T, he's just in a place where he's just not quite there just yet. Emotionally, he's still quite. I'll tell you something. Yeah, as always, beautiful. It is a case of divine timing with the situation because the beautiful thing is you're growing throughout the process of this, and I guess he will have to kind of like grow as well if he wants to continue to be able to maintain connection and contact. Otherwise, the distance, as far as the growth that you continue to make, will kind of like be a lot to sort of like come back from. So I don't necessarily see him kind of getting to a place. I don't want to say anytime soon. I think even when we spoke as well, there was a significant timeline that you guys had been given initially anyway. So he's still on the course of that journey, my love. And seems like you're becoming a better you in the process. So that's what's up. We love that for you. That part. And we'll put some prayers out there for him in the process so that he can learn how to I guess one of the things for him is indecision because he has an issue with trust. And when we struggle with trust, it really speaks about, our inability to trust our own decisions. So he may pretty much be working at getting back into a healthy place where he can actually make the decisions. Because I think a part of why he's not making the decision, let me just say this as well, just to end for you. I think a part of the reason why he's not making the decision just yet is because he knows that he's not able to meet your expectations just yet. And he's not willing to continue to disappoint you in that way by making that level of commitment just yet. Okay. Yes, he does. That divorce really screwed him. I feel sad for him. He changed. He did. And he's got a little bit of commitment issues. There's a little bit of a bitter undertone there, so he has to get back into a healthy place. You don't necessarily want him and being in a relationship with him whilst he's unhealthy anyways, because unfortunately sometimes people bleed into us, even though we didn't cut them. That part. So yeah, all good, guys. He is bitter. I get that. I can feel I can feel a little bit of undertone of bitterness, but it's cool. It's something that he has to, I guess, grow from. So let's give him the peace and the grace of space to be able to do so. Put some prayers out there for him in the meantime, because it's hard to navigate through these shadows on our own. Like, real talk. Okay, list. Oh, we've got Pumpkin next. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Right, Pumpkin. Amen, girl. That's all you can do at this point. Let him continue at this class. You continue to do your work. And keep the faith. That's something that sort of anchors the connection going as well. All good. All good. He posted a few messages above. Okay, all good. All good, my love. Thank you for sharing and being open in the space and sharing your space with us so we can unpack it. Pumpkin, Archangel Samuel, give me some guidance. I want to see what Pumpkin wants us to unpack for her today. Brilliant. Okay. So Pumpkin wants to know. Okay, I'm going to put the questions up on the screen because I'm like learning how to get a little bit better at this, guys. And if you guys are interested, I'm actually doing I said this last time, but I'm doing the Taurus full moon Facebook live event. And that's going to be interesting because I'm actually going to be talking about some of the astrological transits that we can utilize to our benefits, and some of the transits to look out for that may be a little bit intense to work through, but just ways to position ourselves to be able to receive blessings in unexpected ways, because it's about to be an interesting come down from 2021, trust me, y'all. But if you guys are interested, I think my Facebook is connected to my YouTube, so you guys can actually go and check it out there. All good, beautiful. Pumpkin wants what's going on behind the scenes. If you guys stick around, I don't know, this may be a minute as well. So if you guys do stick around, I'll kind of give you guys a little bit more info about the Facebook Live and stuff, because that's going to be interesting. We're going to set our intentions as well. It is going to be a partial lunar eclipse as well, guys. So this is going to be real intense energies. Hey, Radha, definitely you can be added to the list. You're not lying there, Pumpkin. They do give us the mask. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but you know what I mean. It just feels so much more effortless to actually be authentically yourself. That's what I mean. All good. All right, guys. Let's have some clarity. What's Mike's genuine feelings towards Pumpkin? Okay, thank you. We've got like a good few cards here, Pumpkin. So this is the whole story. Pumpkin does know the real deal, T. Honestly, she keeps it real too out here in these streets. Pumpkin's like, I'm not playing. None of the game stuff. Okay. Let's have a little look. Okay. What I'm seeing with the dynamic is they do, and I wanna sort of say a little bit because there's a few different dynamics here. I feel like they feel a little bit sort of I don't want to say pushed out, but you may be in isolation mode at the minute. But they also actually feel like they are taking on a lot of responsibility as well. They also feel like they're taking on a lot of burdens, is the best way that I can put it. They're being quite calm about the situation. I say calm. Uh, all good, Autumn. All good. All good. No, with the situation, it seems as though there's the dynamics here is a little bit fishy. So let me speak to you about this, Pumpkin. Um, have you been in a sort of shutdown mode as of recent, just so I can get some understanding on this particular dynamic? Have you sort of cut them off from your energy to certain level? What's the dynamic with that? Because I want to get some clarity on what they're trying to put across to me here. I feel like they're trying to juggle a lot of things with the situation, but I'm trying to understand the dynamic. Have you kind of put a wall up recently? Give me some understanding with the situation. Okay, thank you. Thank you, because I'm like, damn, okay. Right. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So now we've got some clarity about what narrative they were speaking about here, because for the most part, they're actually okay to take on, I guess, certain responsibilities. Um, yeah, do you know what? Because I'm looking at the situation. I feel like they felt like they were kind of like casted out and pushed out in the cold a little bit. And now you're actually at a place where you're a little bit more emotionally grounded, but they were willing to actually take on the responsibility of you in that place. So this may be another level of you being able to open your ability to trust as well. So this may be a trust class, my love. Sometimes vulnerability is tricky, and it's challenging and it's hard, I guess, because sometimes people mistreat us in our most vulnerable stages. He no longer feels like what part of it? Because I feel like at the minute, he's not necessarily sure which part of it to believe, like the part where you blocked him before or the part where you're actually ready to be open to him now. So clarify, what do you mean when you say he no longer feels like that? Feels like what exactly? Because he's a little bit confused still. He's not actually all the way clear on what your real intentions are with the situation. So what I was saying before is that he would have been actually quite open to sharing whatever it was that you were going through. Um, yeah, he no longer wants to take responsibility. No, no, he's cool. He's cool. He's actually okay to still be in the dynamic. I think you kind of just need to clarify a little bit more. So basically, this is an opportunity for you guys to kind of strengthen your relationship by now building the foundation of trust. And it's about maybe sometimes like, you know, being able to be vulnerable with the right people, because sometimes we're vulnerable with not so right people. Let's call it that, the not so right people that have their own intentions and agendas, right? And they want to keep those things hidden. But from what I can see with the dynamics with him, he's actually still very quite open and he's still quite grounded, and he's okay to kind of like juggle the dynamics. I think he just wants um I think he just wants some you know, clarity and assurance that you guys are going to be able to build this trust at some point, because this can't just kind of like be your only coping mechanism for navigating through emotional volatility, you know, kind of like shutting him out. And, you know, it's great to be, and I trust me as an independent woman myself, okay, this is something that is generally quite a struggle, learning how to be a little bit more interdependent. and like creating healthy lines of dependency in relationships as opposed to codependent. From what I can see with the dynamics, he's still open. I think he wants to be able to feel as though you can actually sort of like come to him when you are feeling low. But it's about you kind of like taking it in stages and dosages as well, because if you go and lean completely in and you still have reservations, you may find that he's not able to meet your expectations further down the line, because your expectations aren't necessarily all the way clear, because it's tainted with the undertone and hint of reservations, which eventually shows up as shadows down the line. So if you kind of take it in stages and take it in dosage, because basically your trust has been broken in past relationships, which is why I'm sure you've developed this pattern of sovereignty when you're going through your own emotional processing. Learning how to have healthy dosages of vulnerability depending on what you're capable of at that particular time. So don't overshare, basically, is what I'm saying, because if you overshare, then you might put yourself in a position where later on that's something that is used as a victim card for you basically later down the line, because they weren't ready to meet that expectation just yet. So do it in dosages, things that you feel comfortable like sharing, just little bits and pieces of your shadows, because once we get the shadows out into the open, guess what? They're no longer shadows, and they're no longer infecting us in the very same way as they once were before. And talking therapy is one of my most fondest therapies, okay, because I could talk for days. And it's a very useful and effective therapy to just get some of the toxicity out of yourself as well. And what happens when we go into sovereignty as well is that we internalize and we feed the shadow, so it actually also grows. So, pumpkin. Pumpkin. Were there things that you felt as you were sharing them, you felt resistance from your body to actually share this? Because this is where your body's letting you know, I'm actually not comfortable with you sharing this just yet. Okay? That's your body letting you know that you're likely to I sent him a message and I don't know how he'll okay. Okay. For the most part, he seems pretty grounded. He seems pretty grounded. I think it depends on the dynamic of the message. And I know that you're sort of like going through a lot and processing a lot. And I know we've been doing sort of like work as well. So there's a lot of things that's kind of like surfacing all over the place at the minute. And I know that that's tricky to sort of deal with and navigate through, but it's literally just selective in terms of what you share, depending on what you're comfortable with, and learning as well your comfort levels, because what happens a lot of the times is that we say that people break our trust, but it's that they didn't even pay the price of that trust. Like, have they paid the price for that information? You know, it's one of those things, like if your body's resistant to it, your body's letting you know, I'm not all the way comfortable because this person hasn't necessarily earned this piece of me just yet. And we have to learn how to like take notes of these signs as well, so that we can dead these victim programs as well. FYI, that's definitely one of the things that this Scorpio new moon is actually helping us to work on, which is phenomenal. But yeah, it's a lot to process. I would say just kind of take it as a lesson learned, okay? It's okay. It's okay. Honestly, what it was is that as you kind of like gain new insights and perspective, it's natural for you to want to pour out. You know, it's natural for you to want to pour out, but also we have to be mindful of where people are at in their own sort of like personal journeys as well. Because if our body is sensing sort of any layer of resistance, it's not just something that's taking place within our field, it's also a reflection of what's going on in their field. So half the time, I'm not saying that they don't want to know, it's that they themselves wouldn't even necessarily know how to process some of the stuff that we're about to share. So that may cause some triggers for them themselves as well. So yeah. Reflecting beautiful, we see what we are, essentially. Do we see what we are? It's so good there, but he's still game. He's still game. I think it's just you're going to be required to help him process some of this stuff that you didn't put out there as well. So yeah, it's a lot. It's insightful. But at the same time, it's a lot, to say the least. Okay, but they're still quite open. They just don't necessarily really know how to feel just yet. So give it a couple of days. Give it a couple of days. Things will start to get a little bit more grounded. We've got the Taurus full moon next Friday on the 19th. Like I said, partial lunar eclipse. So we'll be able to experience some endings and new beginnings of some cycles as well, moving into Sagittarius season. So that's what's up, y'all. Okay. So God's got our back at least. Okay. Right, guys. Who's next on the list? We've got Lyrical. Okay. I hope that was useful for you, Pumpkin. Yeah. It was a great class for you to build your trust, but now you're going to have to kind of like peel back the layers and go a little bit deeper into how you kind of. No, don't do that. You already did that. It's basically now just an evolution of the same pattern that you've pretty much just finished up, where it's solitude and isolation. Okay. No, we love some Titanic. Still sit down and watch some Titanic. You don't have to shut down. If anything, this is a time for you to be even more receptive. And be more open and be more positive in terms of like the engagement with the dynamic, so that you can be the alchemist that you are and create the narrative that you want to see play out from the situation. But it is going to take some work, and you've definitely got to dead that pattern of the shutting down. That's not healthy. It's not healthy. I understand that it's like a natural it's a natural situation as far as like our processing. But in relationship dynamics, it basically depletes connections, especially when we're trying to build connections as well. So you kind of have to find a different dynamic of being able to engage when things get a little bit too sensitive emotionally. So yeah, that part. But I hope that was useful for you, beautiful. Lyrical, welcome to the building, my love. Oh, thank you. We're good. You too. Great energy. Oh, Max the Libra. Okay, let's go to the romance deck and see what's going to be taking place. All good, Pumpkin. All good. Let's get Lyrical's question up on screen. Oh. All right. Let's get a little bit of insight with the dynamic for Lyrical with Max. What do you see happening? Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm just clarifying a few things here for you, Lyrical. So I am seeing that there's an openness, there's a desire, but there's still some sort of holdback from actually being able to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Okay. Give us some clarity here, guys. Why? Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm literally just putting the cards together for you. Don't worry, my love. There's a whole story sort of taking place, so I want to make sure I can see the story so that we can unpack it as need be. Okay. Okay. Right. So what I'm seeing with the dynamics, Mm. They're confused. I don't think that they're necessarily ready just yet to kind of make any direct move. Um, they're still a little bit unclear about what it is that they want to do with the dynamics. Mm. Did this kind of did the disconnect happen spontaneously? Was it just like a I say random, but nothing's ever really random, right? It's like brewing beneath the surface. But did it feel like a random situation? Was it like a spontaneous disconnect? Let's start there because there's a whole sort of like story that they're sort of giving me with this. I can sense that he's actually open to the potential of working on the partnership, but and however, coming forward just doesn't necessarily seem to be, um, I guess, at the forefront of being able to make that happen, which doesn't make any sense, right? But hey, that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, he's confused. Yeah, very quick disconnect. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm seeing it like it looked like there was just like this, how can I put it? This it's like this emotional overwhelming feelings of challenges. Like all of a sudden it's like all this um I don't know if I want to call it competition. I don't know if I want to call it competition. But it feels like there was definitely a challenge to the situation. Um, how long has there been a disconnect? Let me have an understanding of the timeline dynamic that you guys are kind of navigating through at the minute, because there's a lot going on here. I'm seeing that the holdback is definitely due to confusion, and there isn't really sort of like a clear sort of a clear cut decision. There's a lot of blocked emotions with the situation as well. I think that they're not necessarily sure if they want to sort of come back into the situation. How long ago was the disconnect? Give us some clarity so that I can understand maybe where they're at in terms of the journey right now. I don't necessarily see them sort of like making a quick. Yeah, I don't see them making a quick turnaround in actually wanting to sort of come forward as well. I'm going to say no, not anytime soon. I think that they're a little bit confused, and I don't know if that confusion actually. Okay, okay, yeah. I'm gonna say no, my love. I'm gonna say no. I think that, and I'm not sure for certain, but I think that they may already kind of, as much as they would have liked to give the relationship another go and another chance, um, they may feel as though they're a little bit more comfortable in this dynamic. Even though there's a lot of blocked emotions and there's a lot of like emotional suppression, this feels more comfortable right now than actually coming forward and trying to figure things out and make it work, because that quick disconnect, there's a lot more to that story that you're actually not aware of. Um, and that's the part that actually needs to be discussed, which is why there's a holding back. Because that's the thing that actually makes this situation, that's what makes it make sense. Um, yeah, I hope that that makes sense. But I don't see them coming forward anytime soon. Yeah, I want to say they're too pussy, but I'm gonna say that they haven't activated the spirit of courage enough to be able to come forward. So Yeah, that part. They haven't activated the spirit of courage to come forward just yet. So yeah, it's a no right now. They're still confused on some things, and it had everything to do with the initial decision to disconnect. There's more to that story. There's more to that story. That's all I can tell you with that one. There's more to the story. It wasn't just as abrupt as it was. There's a lot more to unpack with it. And yeah, they're not ready to actually face that part of it just yet. Right. Thank you for sharing your space with us, Lyrical. Appreciate it. Hope that was useful for you. Right. Marva. Right, Marva. Let's get your question, beautiful. What does the person I'm thinking currently feel towards me? Their intentions. Okay. Okay, guys, let's have a little quick look at this. Marva. Person. I want to get clarity on intentions, guys. Like real clear cut on the intentions, okay? Not just necessarily what we're already experiencing on surface, but give us the tea behind the scenes, okay? Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, interesting. Oh, we're good, my love. We're good. Let's get Marva's question up on screen. Okay. What's Marva's person currently sort of feeling towards them? What's their intentions? Make it clear. Okay. Okay. So from what I can see on the cards, what they're showing me is that they do see the potential of a future with you. And that's really kind of like their main focus at the minute. Like they totally dig when you're in your best spirit and your best vibe, okay? Because I'm gonna say it's not an all the time situation, but it is a majority of the time type thing. They dig your vibe. Like they feel like you're definitely somebody that has good energy. They find you to be very encouraging. You're somebody that can handle them as well for the most part, because I think they feel like they're kind of like that alpha sort of energy as well, and you handle it and navigate it quite well. Yeah, they see a future. I think that they see that they can actually sort of like grow and progress with you as well. And I think when they look at you, they see like a version of themselves that they can grow into. I wouldn't say effortlessly, but with you in the picture, it makes it more stimulating. It's more motivating. It's actually something that's the main focus for them. So you're a really good drive for them. And they appreciate sort of like having you. I don't want to be all corny and say that they appreciate having you sort of like in their lives, but they do appreciate sort of like having your input on certain things, and they do appreciate being able to kind of like come to you with certain things and getting feedback from you. Let's go a little bit deeper, guys. Sorry, I want to get some clarity. I want to get some clarity. Show me, guys. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They're with it. They're with it. Their genuine intentions, with the situation is actually to be able to really give this a fighting chance. And they're quite open to the idea. I really need clarity. No, it's okay. It's okay. I think like they're quite playful with the situation. So it can be quite tricky sometimes to really kind of like grasp like what do you mean? I think I get that you have those moments quite a lot where they say a bunch of stuff, but it's still a little bit hazy, like, but what do you mean type thing. But they do actually sort of like see a future with you, and they actually feel like you handle them very well, which is probably one of like the most important qualities that they appreciate about you. Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool. They see a future with you, my love. They see a path to progress with you, and they are open to planning a future with you, and they're comfortable with the idea of what that future may look like with you. So y'all are good. Y'all are good. Okay. Right. Let's go ahead and I hope that that was useful for you, by the way, Marva. Let's go ahead and get some more questions going in this space, guys. All good, beautiful. All good. Yes, you can, Chrissy. Yes, you can. Get yourself on the list, beautiful. You may have to wait a minute because the list is moving, but get yourself on the list. You're good. We're moving on to autumn now. Let's see. Oh, autumn's ready. I love how everybody's love it. Okay. You guys have got this stuff together. Snap. How does BC feel about me romantically? Okay. Oh, was Pumpkin being harsh on herself? Where? No, you didn't. You didn't mess it up. If anything, so this is what happens, right? And this is what I'm saying. Sometimes, like when we're learning what class we're in, we feel like we've actually failed at that class, but consider it induction, okay? Now you've been inducted into the classroom. Now you can handle yourself in the classroom. Now that you know that you're in the classroom, you can treat the classroom accordingly to the lessons and case studies that shall be occurring and taking place, okay? You're good. Thank you for that, T. Right, autumn. Let's go and get into unpacking your stuff. Right, okay. How does BC feel about? Oh, good. So good, guys, man. I love how you guys are putting out. Oh, you guys are making me all gooey inside. Stop it. Oh, I love me some love. I love that about you guys, man. Love that. Right. Let's see for autumn. Let's get Autumn's question up here as well, actually. Let's get Autumn some showtime. Right. So, how does BC feel about? We're going to go for the tarot with this, actually, first and foremost, because I want to unpack it. It's so good. It's so good. Right. BC, what's BC's actual feelings towards autumn? Because autumn's mellow, so I love that. I like that name, BCW. That's a good one. Right. Okay. Interesting. Sorry. I'm gonna continue to put some cards and unpack this because there's already a yes, Minnie can be added to the list. What's the dynamic here with you guys? They're having to accept something. They're having to accept the dynamics right now. You know, it's my speciality. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, it's all good, guys. It's all good. We're human. Um, One of the things that I'm seeing with the dynamic here, Autumn, is that um, they actually feel like they're having to accept the situation for what it is, and potentially they're having to accept that you guys are having to move on. What's the dynamic? What's the dynamic? They'd like to be a little bit more efficient in terms of the moving on process, but what's the dynamic? Give us the tea. I'm sorry. I'm like looking at the card here, but I want to be able to sort of like unpack this for you, because what they're showing me at the minute is that they feel the sense of loss, they feel the sense of regret, they feel the sense of disappointment about the situation. Oh, clarify. If you're still here in the room, Autumn, give us some clarity. Give us some clarity. I don't think that they're like at a place right now where they feel like there's even any comeback from the situation. Oh, that's okay. Okay, and I get that. I get that. Mm, yeah, I think that that may be the thing that he's having to accept in that case. Mm. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It doesn't feel like there's much room for that kind of dynamic for you guys anymore. And this is one of the things that I'm sort of like speaking on. It feels like he's having to learn how to be a little bit more efficient in managing his feelings now that he's kind of like accepting the dynamic. Ah, dear. We all actually have some of these personality quirks that does actually show up. Um, yeah, really, really. I think that he's kind of at the place where it feels like he may just have to move on. Let's get some clarity. Let me get the other tarot out and see if we can get some clarity on exactly how he wants to move on. Yeah, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? It's just that balance between the masculine and feminine energy, beautiful. A lot of the time, this happens a lot of the times with with being independent. Okay. When it comes to being able to be in certain dynamics, we also need to learn how to dial that back a little bit, not diminish it, not relinquish it, but just dial it back a little bit, gauge it back, because that personality type isn't necessarily for every type of situation. It's for the situations that they're called for. Do you know what I mean? That's why we develop the skill. That's why we kind of like optimize the personality type. But it's not for every given situation. I think that those are some of the things that I guess we learn when we experience these types of dynamics and stuff. But yeah, let's see. Let's get some clarity. Exactly how, when he thinks about moving on efficiently and being a little bit more, okay, he'd like to be a little bit more conservative. He feels like he's placed his energy, like too much of his energy into the situation basically already. I'm Capricorn moon, Pisces, Aquarius, cusp. So I get that. Okay, I get all of that too. But for the right guy, and I'm gonna say this as well, y'all. Even though we learn how to dial back this personality type, for the right guy, because a lot of the times you tend to find you're a little bit more of an alpha sort of energy, like an alpha female sort of vibe. And for the right kind of guy who is comfortable in his ability to play his alpha versus his beta dynamic, like he has to be able to be balanced in both to be able to withstand a woman with that personality type. Okay. So it's not even about scaring men off. What it is that your alpha personality type has simply come into contact with some beta that hadn't developed their alpha. And unfortunately, they couldn't withstand being within the environment. And that's okay, because I mean, they might need a little bit more of like engagement with beta on beta level to optimize their own confidence so that they can grow in their, you know, in their alpha. Yeah. No, and I get that. I do get that. I do actually get that. Trust me. Trust me. It's crazy out here in these streets. Oh, the list is growing, y'all. I'm already like an hour in. It's been so nice hanging out with you guys, actually. I'm so glad that I took the time yesterday and God gave me the day off. I'm sorry that I rescheduled, guys, but God gave me the day off, which means that I could be optimized and have enough energy to come into the space today. So at least I can give as much of myself to you. Yeah, for the moment, at the minute, to just kind of like close out your question here, Autumn, his main focus, he's actually putting all his energy into sort of like career moves at the minute. That's just where he's placing his energy. He's not necessarily wanting to place so much of his energy as he did into the space as he used to before, just because he got the sense that it wasn't necessarily appreciated. And it's not that it wasn't appreciated. And these are some of the things that you know, we need to sort of do. Oh, thank you. Thank you, beautiful Kiara. I like that name. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, he's not necessarily sort of there yet, and you can be added to the list, Kiara. He's not there. He's actually just kind of nursing his wounds from, I guess, the way that he felt that he was handled with the situation. But, and however, that's okay, right? Because guess what? You get something from this situation. You get the clarity that you actually need to dial that personality type back a little bit. And it's not necessarily that, how can I put it? Like, we have to understand the men that we're dealing with today in like 2021. There's a lot of emotional scarring. There's a lot of insecurities. There's a lot of dysfunctional emotional patterns. And because as women, we've had to do certain things and we've had to grow in certain ways and all of these things, right? Guys say that we're very emotional, but unfortunately, what they haven't realized is that we've been getting put on game. Okay, we've been learning how to actually deal with our emotions, which is the whole sort of like situation that they're now having to deal with. And it's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of men who haven't necessarily gotten to a place where they've optimized their divine feminine as well. So it's not necessarily just even in the way that you handled the situation. It's just the way that he felt. So he has to kind of like nurse that wound. He has to deal with that trigger, because you did sort of like trigger some, I want to say some mummy wounds in there, feelings of not necessarily being worthy and good enough and all of these expectations. Not that you said or did any of these things. It's just, these are some of the things that I guess, would come up with this kind of wound and this kind of trigger. But for the most part, he's just kind of focusing on his career and kind of like taking the focus in that direction at the minute, because that's how he feels like he can best, I guess, build his own confidence. That's an area of life where he's good at that. So he's just going to do that for now, and build confidence a little bit. Will you guys be able to sort of like pick up connection potentially? I don't think anytime soon. Things might start to kind of like, there may be sporadic communication. I want to say maybe up to the next 6 months, is what they're sort of like saying. But as far as the connection that you guys were building before, not necessarily. Not necessarily. How do you feel about it though, Autumn? Are you still kind of open to the space with that individual? Because I guess if you kind of like dial back the personality type, in the meantime, they might get a little bit more of a receptive reception, if you will, when they come into the space. And sometimes we don't even like realize when these, I guess, kind of relationship or energetic exchanges are taking place. You know, I mean, even when we do realize, sometimes we actually don't care. We're just like, oh, well. And I think I've done that like a few times. I wanted to talk to him, but I don't know if I should anymore. I think it's worth a conversation. I think it's worth a conversation. I think, and this is the thing, like, I think he's actually willing to kind of like maybe take things at your pace, because he's basically, for lack of a better way of putting it, he's actually still looking for that validation. So now that you said that, I feel like he doesn't want anything to do with me. No, I don't think it's the case that he doesn't want anything to do with you. I think it was just a trigger, my love. I think it was just a trigger that had to come to surface. And this is the thing as well, like with our personality type, with being a dominant personality type, it's likely to trigger. Do you know what I mean? It's just the dynamic. It's like weather forecasts, expect a few emotional tides to surface with that kind of personality type when it comes to relationship dynamics. But it's okay. You can handle a conversation. I think it might actually give you some clarity in terms of like how you showed up in the dynamic and why you showed up the way that you showed up, and maybe understand even where you may be emitting the wrong sort of like reflection of yourself, giving the wrong sort of like energy or vibe. Because I find that even for myself, sometimes I'm like, oh snap, that wasn't even what I was trying to say, but my energy was so off. Like I had stank attitude underneath the undertone of that, you know? And those things kind of like help us to shift and put those little parts of us into alignment with the actual intention, so that we can, you know, communicate a little bit more clearly. Yeah, just dial it back a little bit. Just a little squeeze. Because this is the thing, we're dealing with very fragile counterparts at the minute. And I'm not going to say unfortunately. Fortunately, we've been able to grow and develop enough to the point where we can identify when they need it. We don't show up necessarily all the time. If anything, sometimes we beat our chest even harder. Like, yes, I am that bitch. However, we don't have to get into all of that kind of dynamic. Do you know what I mean? We just kind of dial it back a little bit and give them the room to actually, give them the room to actually just kind of like see a different side to you as well. Okay. So that he can feel comfortable. And that's all. That's all. You're good. Yeah. Let your feminine show, you know? He'll appreciate it as well. And then he can be back in his masculine as well. So he can actually like feel like he has some sense of control of the dynamic as well. Okay. But I hope that was useful for you nonetheless. Beautiful. Let's have a little look at this list and see who's next on the list. MMJ. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's so good, MMJ. Right, let's get your question up on the screen. Beautiful. Right. Let's see. All good, Autumn. All good. Thank you for sharing your space with us. Thank you for letting us into your world this evening. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Show me. NMJ wants to know what's taking place for her in terms of romance. We want to sort of like get this whole sort of vibe. Okay. So what we're sort of like seeing with the dynamic here. Oh, it's so good. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your space, man. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. Okay. What I'm seeing on the situation is that it is going to be a waiting game for you. And what I see with the situation is that you're more focused on, or you need to be at least, you seem to be in the class of finances and career. Because for some reason, I'm getting the sense that that's actually something that's also very equally important to you in terms of your relationship dynamic. And being able to kind of maintain stability. You're also actually in the process of working towards where you would like to be comfortably to be able to. So what I'm seeing is, and it's interesting, your soul's on an interesting sort of like concept of its journey, right? I'm trying to sort of like get some sort of indication of a timeline because it is a long sort of situation for you, because what I'm seeing is that career is actually, so in terms of like prioritization, that's something that's actually really important to your soul's path, I guess is the best way that I can put it. And it's willing to actually just continue to be optimistic about the love life situation, because I guess there's like faith that things are working out in that space. But, you know, for the most part, as humans, we're all about the instant gratification. So we want to know when the goodies are going to show up, right? So guys, let's see, what can you give me in terms of some sort of sense of clarity in terms of a timeline? Because it seems like this is going to be okay. So what I'm seeing with the situation for yourself, oh, okay. Well, we'll add you to the list. Beautiful. Thank you for stopping into the space. So yeah, what I'm seeing with the situation is, I want to say, it seems like an actual like real candidate. And when I say candidate, I mean somebody that potentially meets your requirements. I'm seeing this more towards, I want to say April. I want to say April because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing sort of like mid-April, early May times. And I think it's because of where you are as well in terms of your own sort of like transition with some of the, again, the career and finances stuff. Feeling a little bit more, maybe not even comfortable in terms of where you are, but just feeling a little bit more at peace with the dynamic that you've done enough, at least, and you're continuing to do enough, and you actually have room. Because I think that that's a part of the struggle right now as well. I don't know how much room you actually have to fit in a romantic partnership, which is something that I guess you're on a journey at the minute to create some space for in your life. Acid brain, you sound like a brain that is on acid, to be fair. But maybe you needed to come into this space to get some light into your life. So we'll pray for you. God bless you. Whilst I'm out here in the ethers, look at what the devil got done and put out here. Do you know what? Thank you for highlighting just how, how just how playful the devil can be sometimes. That's fine. I'm actually going to close the list, guys. The list is hella long. I've still got quite a few people. Okay, list is closed. List is closed. I'm feeling energized for the most part, but you know. Okay. Oh, okay. That makes sense. And I'm talking about MMJ's, confession. Ah, Virgo Venus. That is okay. So that makes sense. That makes sense. At least you're prioritizing. You're kind of like working through the smaller details of things. Okay. Once you get this stuff together, trust me, like you'll actually be in a place where you're optimized enough to be able to actually like let them into your orbit and naturally just kind of like attract them into your space. Right now, you just don't even have time for that. I can't lie. It sounds like a nice idea, but yeah, you're actually added to the list. You're added to the list, my love. My YouTube account. You're added to list. Okay. There is a person. There is a person. I want to say mid-April, early May of next year. Okay. Once you feel a little bit more like you've got this stuff together and you've got everything on hand, you're good. Okay. Oh no, the list ended with you in my YouTube account. Don't worry, I got you. Okay. Oh, there we go. See, list is already updated. Thank you guys. T, let's have your question, beautiful. Put it out there and let's dive into it and unpack it. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful. It's you too, my love. You too. Right, T. Yeah, let's get your question and we'll put it out there. What is this S dude feeling for me? He keeps blocking, unblocking, and I didn't even. Oh, I need to put this up. Okay, so we're gonna share. That she is, honestly. She is. That she is. Oh, okay. Give him a little grace. Give him a little grace. I know that his indecision is poking and antagonizing. I do get it. Oh, I come with you guys in the chat. No, I understand the blocking and stuff. Honestly, that's more to do with the way that he generally tends to handle things. But let's have a look. What's T's what's S sort of feeling towards T? Because things are now very, very confusing. He's now projecting his confusion, and T's at the place where it's like, do I even want to continue to give you the time of day? So we want to get some clarity on what their intentions are with the situation. Okay. Okay. There's no, honestly, I think there's some resentment, I guess, that they're actually kind of like getting past and getting over. I think when they find themselves in a place of blocking you, I think they kind of get to a place where they feel like they don't necessarily they feel like they're engaging too much of their energy, so they actually like still care. That's what that is, first and foremost. um so they actually still care. I think where there isn't sort of like the communication in the way that they'd like, it's actually a rebuttal to them feeling as though they're not getting the kind of attention that they'd like. So now they are cutting you off almost. That's what it is seeming like in their mind. Like, this is how they're rationalizing it. They're cutting you off from being able to kind of like access them, but the truth is, like, you're not bothered either way. The reality is they actually want access to you, but you're not necessarily kind of like reaching out to engage in conversation like that. So I think that it's there's still some begrudgeful feelings, basically, is the best way that I can put it. There's still some sadness and resentment that they've been working through. Oh my god, I can't with tea. Y'all, look what Tina said. Oh god, no, but honestly, like, this is how shadows work. They're so irrational sometimes, they don't even make sense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna cut you off. It's like, well, I wasn't one. Okay. No, you didn't. You didn't do anything. But that's also that. How can I put it? That is also your saving grace and the problem at the same time. What do I mean by that? It was the fact that you didn't do anything that they have a problem with. It's how can I put it? Like, it's a good thing on your part and also a negative thing on their part as well, if that makes sense. This is why truth is subjective, right? Because you're right, you didn't do anything, but that's the very thing that's also sort of like hurting them and upsetting them. And I think that they just rob themselves of an opportunity. And I think deep down, that's what they actually can't forgive. And they just keep using you as a mirror to be able to play out some of these dynamics. But the truth is, they're actually just kind of like mad at themselves about how they handled certain things in the dynamics. Absolutely, absolutely, definitely, definitely. Because I could see that he actually wants to move past some of this resentment, and he wants to be a little bit more open. Um, because it's not really actually resentment; it's just really sadness. It's sadness. Things didn't necessarily play out in the way that they'd hoped, um, and it's just growing into acceptance of that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry, I keep saying yeah, but I'm literally just processing all of this stuff. Like, yes, yes, that's precisely it. That is precisely it. They want you to care. They want you to care because they're in a very toxic place with how much they care, to the point where it's actually like, you know, dark care. Is to the point where it's gone into resentment and um, feelings of, yeah, disappointment just about how things have actually sort of panned out. But their intentions, going back on the question, they're not really clear on what their intentions are because they don't even know why they're mad at you. Like, that's the best way that I could put it. They don't even really know why they're mad at you, which is why they then are forced to open the lines of communication back up, because that would be the rational thing to do. But then they go back into these places of irrationality because of all of these feelings of disappointment that they haven't necessarily processed. But Here's to putting a prayer out there for so that he can actually get to a place where he's past some of those resentment, and he can actually like sit in the reality of what actually took place and just accept that rather than tormenting himself with these games, to be fair. Yeah. They do usually want you to stay, isn't it? That's the funny thing. That is the funny thing. It's so funny how that works. Rather than just saying, I actually need you to stay, he changes his display every time he uploads. Yeah, because it's the whole game, right? It's the whole game. Like, yeah, it's the whole game. He would have liked things to play out in a different way, but it just didn't play out in that way. Natural personality, man. Natural personality. Honestly, thank you for sharing that. I think this is clearly like it's so funny because they're literally fighting themselves and then they're kind of like trying to bring you into the war that they're having with themselves type thing. And it's just like, well, I'm over here. Let me know what you've done. Do you know what I mean? So I think just let him continue to do what he's doing. Find the humor in it for the most part because the shit's actually really funny. I love that. I love that. He honestly, he literally just wants you to care because he's having a fight with himself on the inside. Okay, he's really having a fight with himself on the inside. It's a real battle of rational and irrational. I don't even know what to call these because I don't even think that they're fears. They're more rational and irrational passive emotions. Like it's certain things that he basically hadn't necessarily fully spoken up about, I guess. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, dude. Oh, thank you, Angel, for coming in and stopping into the space. We literally, I think we closed off the list at YouTube, my YouTube account. We did, yep, we did. We closed off the list at the my YouTube account. Damn. Yeah, just let him be a dum dum, okay? Like he's not gonna get anything from it. The least you can do is every time he goes on blocking you, just start having a little crack with your guides as well, and like all of you guys have a little joke about it. Look, he's done it again. He's done it again. Oh, he's over there. Send him some prayers on that part as well, so he can navigate through whatever it is that he's fighting himself about. Damn. Oh, okay, Angel. You asked nicely. Make sure you stick around right to the end because you're going to be last on the list. So you're going to need to be here for all the good stuff. Okay, I'm going to let you in on the list. So now the list ends with you. Okay, Angel? Dang. You done came in here and, that was a nice plead. Okay, thank you. All right, guys. Let's see. Zenab, you're next on the list. All good, Angel. All good. Z, let's get your question, man. Put it out there for us. Let's see. I hope that was useful for you as well, T. They are funny, by the way. I'm sure that's how you probably sit there and get like so much jokes. Zenab, if you're still in the room, throw your question out there and let's unpack it for you. Snap. Let's see. You are on the list, my YouTube account. I haven't forgotten you. Don't worry, you're on the list. Now you're no longer last on the list. Angel is. Okay? You're good. You're good. We've got you. Zenab! Are you in the building? You in the room with us? Are you typing? All good, my YouTube. You're good. You're in safe hands. We got you. Hopefully Zainab can give us her question so we can unpack that ASAP and then keep it pushing. I know. I'm waiting for someone else to put that question though. Zainab, come on, man. Because that tickled me. That full on tickled me. Because people do that all the time. It's so funny when they do that as well. It's like nobody cares. Like actually, nobody actually cares. But I see you care, so okay, keep carrying over there. That's fine. I'm gonna keep living in some love over here in light. I don't think Zenab's in the room anymore. Zenab's like, yeah, this is taking too long. Too long. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that, Pumpkin. Pumpkin also put it out there. You guys can book an appointment, donate for in-depth personal readings. I know because I work with Pumpkin behind the scenes as well. So yeah, honestly, my Nia. I like that. My Nia, where are you, my Nia? Okay. Come on. Get your questions out here. Let's put it out in these YouTube streets and unpack it. Ah, yes. Come on, guys. Where is everybody? I did. Yes, I did add Angel in the list. Thank you for that. See, I did add Angel. Angel begged so sweetly. And look at that. There's like people that's not even in the room. So Angel actually has an opening anyways. Look at that. That's how you get it done. Thank you, Pumpkin. Look at that. Nicole's like, forget y'all. I'm here. That's how you get that done, Nicole. Okay, let's get your question, girl. Snap. This ain't no plaything. We won't get these questions unpacked and get some clarity. No, you're good. Look at that though. You see how it is? That's how the universe works. They're not here, but you know, what Angel came in, my YouTube account came in to fill out the space. It's all good. We've closed off the list. We've only got a few more to go. And that's cool. Hopefully everybody's still sort of like here. But Nicole, let's get your question, my love, and let's unpack it for you. Give it to us. What do you want us to unpack for you tonight? I don't know if you've already put your question out there, but I'm going to have a challenging time finding it, I'm sure. Yeah. There we go. Let's see if we've got Nicole's question. No, it does not. Oh, it does not. It really doesn't. Come on, Nicole. I know you're typing. Sorry. Let me not like, get down on your back like that. I know you're typing. So I'm trying to find your question. Let's see. No, you didn't do anything, T. Like, honestly. Oh, this is some serious stuff. Look at this. All right, guys. You guys know what Nicole's kind of like navigating through. Oh, let's put her stuff up on pin. On pin T's question. Well, comment, I should say. Nicole wants to know, about oh, the people who created the fake account. And what do you see happening with that dynamic? How do you see things playing out with that? How do you see things playing out with the situation with Nicole that she's going through with the trolling account, basically? What do you see sort of coming with that? Okay. Okay. Give us some more clarity. We understand that aspect. Will justice prevail in the situation? Will there be okay? Okay. Thank y'all. That done flew right away across the table. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Okay. It will come to light who actually did it. It will come to light who actually did it. It's going to take a lot of digging, and it's going to, sorry, I'm all proper like putting my hands all up in the camera and stuff. I'll go with it. Yeah, it will come to light. I think in the process you're actually kind of oh, what's this? Yeah, it will come to light, but it's going to take a long time for you to sort of like get the insight and the information. It can take anywhere from 7 to 8 months for you to properly get the full clarity that you're looking for with this situation, to actually like find out who did it, why they did it, what was the driving force of the situation. You're going to grow a lot in the process, I guess. And when I say grow in the process, there's a lot of factors to the situation that you're actually going to learn, as far as like the people that's behind the situation. Somebody who was upset. It was somebody who was upset. I don't want to say about something that you did, because I feel it's more about something that you didn't do, much like T's situation. But yeah, it is going to come to light. It is going to come to surface, but it's a good 7 to 8 months before you get full clarity on that situation. And it's actually going to be quite shocking from what I can see as well. Yeah, it's going to it seems like it's something or someone, something that happened, or didn't happen, like I say. But when you find out, I guess the particular person behind it, because I don't think it's like one particular person. I'm seeing like at least three people for some reason. But there's one person that's like the driving force behind the situation, and you'll be able to get the clarity on how this whole situation was orchestrated and why, within the next 7 to 8 months. Okay, I hope that that was useful for you. You didn't do anything. More than likely, that's just a pattern. No. Okay. That's pretty much everything I've got for you there, Nicole. It'll come to surface within the next 7 to 8 months. Um, I think it's actually, I don't know if I wouldn't say that the person's close to you now, but I want to say that once upon a time they were close to you. The main person that I'm seeing behind the situation, but it seems like there's actually around about 3 people involved. Okay. And you'll get like full clarity on the situation as it kind of unfolds, I guess, over the next few months. Okay. Hope that that was useful for you. To answer your question, yes, Chrissy, I was just about to say, to answer your question, yes. Okay, so next on the list is Chrissy. We want that question. Oh, you want a general romance guidance, do you? Okay. Right. Like zero. Zero. Zero F's to give, unfortunately. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. It's not personal. Right. Let's see. Chrissy. What do you, oh, okay. Mm, okay. Indeed. Indeed, pumpkin. Indeed. Oh, okay. Hmm. I can't with tea. Oh god. Okay. So what I'm seeing with the situation here for you, let's get your question up actually. There we go. That's not the question, guys. Let's get the question. There we go. There we go. I just saw Chrissy's name and put that up there, right? So what I'm seeing with the situation for you in terms of romance here, Chrissy. Right. So this is a quite the dynamic. Single right now, yes. There is going to be someone likely to come in. I'm going to get clarity for you on the timeline, but I want to tell you a little bit about the story in the meantime, right? Um, right. So, what I'm seeing with the dynamics of the person, the next partner, I guess, for you, um, I'm not going to say that they are the one, and I don't want to like let this be something that puts you off, because it shouldn't be. We all need to like go through the process of finding the one. But the next person that you actually find yourself in a dynamic with, it seems as though you guys are going to kind of like be going through this, I want to say power struggle. I want to say power struggle. Um, there's a lot of natural chemistry that's there, but there's a lot of red flags. So they don't necessarily like to talk about things in too much details. They don't really necessarily like to get too deep into certain things. Um, you tend to be the one that, sorry, my nose is tickling because I'm picking up the information. That way, I'm sniffing it out, guys. Clairsentient. Um, what I'm seeing with the situation is that you're having to be the one to kind of like draw closer towards them in the dynamic. And what I mean by that is that they have like this tendency to be very detached and disconnected sometimes. And I guess it's one of the things that they're in the dynamics to work through with you as far as that personality type of theirs, because it's not conducive to being able to maintain a healthy partnership dynamic. Um, I think provided that you guys can work, because you guys have got a lot of natural chemistry with the situation, provided that you're actually willing to work at some of these red flags. And like I say, they have a little bit of a tendency to be kind of manipulative as well. So what do I mean by that? Like sometimes people don't want to take accountability for how they feel and they want to make you responsible for their feelings type thing. So emotional manipulation is something to kind of like be mindful of. I hope you're out here taking notes, by the way, Chrissy, because it's a whole class that you're going to be sitting with this individual. But I do think that you guys do have great potential. The person that they come into your space as um, isn't necessarily the person that I guess you'll end up growing with. If they're willing to kind of like change some of these things and grow with you, then I see it actually having like this pivoting turning point where it can get like really quite serious. But they they themselves have a lot of personality quirks that they would have to kind of work through as well, and equally for you as well. You may have a tendency, I don't want to say to be codependent. I don't want to use the word codependent. I think that you may like to be needed um, when it comes to that kind of dynamic. And that's something I always just be assholes. That's precisely it. That may be the personality type that you want to dial back a bit. The need to be needed. Um, that may be why you're attracting assholes, basically, because if a person needs you to need them, you can treat them however way because they still need you to need them. Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? So you may need to dial that personality aspect back a little bit. You don't need to take up projects. That's not your job. That's between them and God. It's great to sort of like want to grow with someone and want to be able to like build and lay foundations with someone. That's completely different to actually sort of like taking on a project. Do you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of the times you see the red flags in these quote unquote asshole archetypes that you've kind of ended up with in the past, but for some reason you give them the benefit of your doubt and then find yourself in a situation where they show up as exactly the asshole that you saw them to be in the first place. Therefore it kind of validate in itself as a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think yeah, I think that the next situation can be better, but there's also some work that you have to do with the dynamics of the situation with yourself as well. If you see something, I'm not going to say just say something, but if you see something, acknowledge it to yourself and don't bury it because it's not going to serve you down the line. Let's get some clarity on a timeline here for Chrissy. Okay. Okay. Right. From what I'm seeing, as far as a timeline for yourself with this situation, um, hmm, sorry, they're telling me a little bit of a story about the situation because it actually sort of takes a few sort of like weeks in terms of the unpacking process of the situation. Let's have a little look. No, you shouldn't be alone. It's not just a situation like that, Chrissy. Obviously, we're all trying to sort of like learn learn something. I'll put it to you like this. The right person is definitely possible and they're out there. The thing about it is we're so focused on the person that the partner needs to be able to basically meet our expectations. We forget to actually optimize ourselves to becoming a vibrational match to what that person needs. It's like okay, so I'm going to use this reference, right? It's like Sierra. I'm sure when she was praying for Russell Nelson or Williams, I can't remember. When she was praying for Russell, okay, she also had to become a different woman herself to actually be able to match the vibration of that man. Her herself had to go through a bit of a transformation to even be able to, I guess, resonate with him in that frequency to manifest that timeline where they're able to have a marriage and grow in family dynamics and grow in support of each other. Those are some of the things I guess that you're still kind of like navigating and working through. It's not that you should be alone, it's just that you're learning in the process of navigating through all of these things what it is that you do and don't want and who it is you need to be and have to be in order to be able to achieve these things at the same time as well. But I do see something sort of like kickstarting for you. I want to say, from what I'm seeing on the cards here, it may be at least a good 7 weeks, they sort of said to me initially. So potentially, sort of 7 weeks from now, you'll be able to kind of start to see some sort of development in that space. So it looks like probably towards like the start of the new year, you'll start to see some development in terms of romance for you and potential in terms of candidate. Okay. Um, oh, right. So I actually sort of like closed out the list, my love. But I hope that that was useful for you there, Chrissy. That's exactly that. Exactly that. Exactly what T said. Like, your person is that it's just a process. Like, honestly, it really is just a process. Guys, you're like coming into the room and flooding into the room. The list is closed, guys. I've literally been here for like 2 hours already, just kind of like sharing space with you guys. But I do these every Friday, potentially Saturdays, depending on if I get a day off due to exhaustion, as it happened tonight. But I shall be live next week, so come into the space early for 9:30 next week and share your question with us, and we'll be able to answer and bring some insights to you. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you for sharing this space with us. And honestly, we're going to pour some love into your space. Okay. Don't be hopeless. If anything, it takes a very special person, especially when we kind of like go on a specific journey where it takes like a little bit of time. It's because our soul is on a very specific journey and we're in like a very specific channel of like navigating our romantic life, but it will come for you. It will come for you. I think it's just more a case of you kind of not necessarily attracting the things that you don't want anymore. You know that you're done with the the asshole archetype, for instance, which means that there are certain things and personality types and traits that you kind of have to dial back a little bit so that you can get something that's a little bit more conducive to what you do want. And when you go into your romantic experiences, let's kind of like dead some of the old scripts of like the assholes before, because first and foremost, they weren't worthy. However, they paid the price of, I guess, what you thought you were worth then, i.e., what do I mean by that? So you knew that they had certain, I guess, personality quirks that you weren't necessarily like pleased with, and you still settled, for instance. And eventually, over time, that settling continued to kind of like make you feel like you're shrinking in it. You don't have to shrink to be in a relationship, and I feel like, yeah, you don't have to deal with, like T said, dum dums until then. And there's somebody that's out there for you. I think it's just a case of you kind of like really being clear cut and focused on what it is that you do want versus what it is that you don't want. Because a lot of the times as well, we're like casting people in roles from our negative scripts mentally as well. And we're not able to actually get it. Yeah. I'm sorry, Rato. I'm sorry. It's actually under your bed. It's under your bed. There's a little crevice underneath something potentially. You might want to look under the bed again because I just got that imagery. So there you go. We don't have like the whole need, I guess, for a whole reading for you. Oh damn, IG ain't out here playing. IG's like, but Michael, I'm ready. Ready. Okay. How does Leo feel about me? We're on a break, 1 month, no contact. He's also going through a divorce. When will he come back? Should I reach out to him? Firstly, IG, that's like a whole unpacking, first and foremost. I can only do one question because it is a one question reading. If you want to kind of go deeper into anything else, you probably have to email me to go any deeper. Make a donation, something to really unpack all of this stuff because it sounds like it's about to be a whole bunch of drama already. Oh God, my heart's like, ooh. Right. I hear you, beautiful, and I appreciate it. I thank you for saving me the time. Honestly, I really do appreciate it. Let's see here for IG. Okay, there we go. There we go. We'll start with that question. How does the Leo feel about IG for now? Thank you, Mina. You're up next, beautiful. You're good. Okay, so how does Leo feel towards IG? Okay. Right. So what I'm seeing with the situation here, right, is there's a little bit of immaturity taking place with this situation. So what I'm seeing is that they're feeling kind of like rigid and closed off, not really flexible with the situation. It's it seems as though what's going on beneath the surface is a little bit of emotional immaturity. Now, I'm going to unpack this for you at the minute, because it seems like there's a lot more to the situation. I can't with you guys in the chat. I'm so sorry. You guys are killing me. Oh my god. Okay. Oh. Right, guys. Okay, so give me some clarity. Why is he being so inflexible? That's what we really want to know. We want to know what's going on beneath. Yeah, we want to know what's going on underneath. Okay. So, at the minute, he just can't juggle you. He can't juggle you. I don't know how else to put it to you. It's about prioritizing at the minute, and unfortunately, this may be painful for me to say, but that's what you're experiencing as it is right now. You're just not at the top of the priority list with all the things that are kind of like taking place at the minute. The coming back situation, not right now. Probably towards like, I want to say, like as far as like being able to come back and be present in the space, I want to say probably towards the end of January, early February. But right now, unfortunately, you're not a priority, and I can understand because there's so many other variables kind of like taking place with the situation. And it's a little bit scattered and all over the place at the minute. It's a little bit scattered and all over the place at the minute. So you'll definitely have to just kind of like, I guess, accept where they are on their own healing journey at the minute, because it's a lot, I guess, that they're kind of navigating through as well. But yeah, they'll get to a place where they may potentially like have room, I guess, like free up some space to be able to kind of like engage with you in their world. But at the minute, it's stick a pin in it. They can't juggle this right now, on top of everything else that they're kind of like juggling and navigating. Okay, and it's not personal to you. It's just that regardless of whoever it was, they wasn't going to be prepared to actually be able to navigate it right now. Are you prepared to wait? Is my question to you. How do you feel? Let me know that part. Oh, good, Mina. Thank you for coming and sharing the space and energy with us. I love you for sharing your energy with us. How do you feel, IG? Like, in terms of the dynamic, are you prepared to wait? That's my question to you. Right. That's pretty much everything that I've got for you here as well, IG. They're saying to me like there's nothing else that they can share on the situation right now. That's about as much information as you perhaps need with the situation right now. But yeah, potentially in the new year, there may be sort of like development of communication, but for right now, it's just not a priority. There's too many things going on. Okay. Mina, girl, it's your go. It's your turn. I hope that was useful, BTW. Okay, IG, I hope that provided you with a little bit of clarity at least. Okay. Okay. Seems like right. So this is Mina's question, right? Mina's question is Fahad's feelings and future actions towards her. Let me get some clarity on this. What are Fahad's? Oh, okay. And okay. Hey, Simsy. Welcome to the room. We've actually closed out the reading list. Yeah, we've closed out the reading list for tonight, unfortunately. I've been here for 2 hours already. But you guys can like and sub and join us next Friday, 9:30, and we'll be able to unpack it for you guys. Come in bright and early. Okay, 9:30 on Friday, and we'll unpack your question for you then if it's still something that's lingering in your dome. Okay. Right. So for your question, to answer your question here, Mina. Okay. That's fine. So come in next Friday. Come in next Friday. Okay. So what I'm seeing with the situation with Fahad, right now, Fahad's focus is basically making sure that he can maintain the stability. Fahad has plans for you guys. Definitely kind of sees a future there, but it's a waiting game. Not to say that he's not in any rush, but at the minute he knows he needs to be in a certain position to be able to do things in a certain way that basically would maintain the lifestyle that he would like, I guess, to kind of maintain when he's in that place in his life. So, for lack of a better way of putting it, like he sees the possibilities of a future with you, but right now he's focusing on his career path. He's focusing on getting the funds together. He's focusing on building the foundations, getting the situation all the way situated as far as making sure that the foundations are laid. It does mean, however, that he's not as so you guys may be experiencing different expressions of love languages. So his main love language that he's kind of optimizing at the minute is acts of service and gifts. Those are the main sort of love language, and he may be sort of falling short, I guess, on some of the acts of service that you would like, but he's kind of optimized in that love language where he's, I guess, focusing on the acts of service that he feels as though he needs to bring to the table. Whereas your main love language at the minute that you might be sort of wanting to optimize, that is even causing you to question this at the minute, is quality time. So he may not be as emotionally available as he once was, which is probably why there's a little bit of question around kind of like where he's at in terms of future developments. But he's still on that path. He's still intending, I guess, to kind of we're in a separation. He was forced into a marriage by his family. Yeah. Okay. And I get it because this is the thing, like he's kind of focused on this situation here as far as like career and circumstances being a factor. He sees that future, I guess, with yourself, whether or not it can be possible. that's the, I guess, the issue that he's kind of navigating through at the minute. He would have liked it to be with you. He's not as emotionally available, like I said. He's not as emotionally available, more than likely because of the circumstances. But he does think of you. He would have liked it to be you with the situation. It's just, unfortunately, he's not there right now where he can actually even make that decision for himself. Why? Because he's, how can I put it? He's not at that place where he's brave enough just yet to disappoint all the people that would be disappointed by him choosing himself, by him choosing what it is that he does want. He's not there. And I don't think that he's likely to get there anytime soon. Does he get there? Potentially, because what they're showing me is that it is a waiting game, because he's basically like building some cojones, building some balls, building some ball power, to be able to even like really articulate what it is that he wants. But he does hope that, I don't know, I guess he hopes that it could have been you. I don't know that he's happy in his situation either, because it doesn't seem like he's actually emotionally available there either. Because this is something, how can I put it? You've got his heart, but he's physically connected to this situation over here, and that physical situation can't have his heart because it's already in a relationship with you. But he can't give that heart to you because of the dynamic that's going on over here with the physical commitment that he has over here. I think he's growing. I don't think he's optimistic about his current situation or the situation with you, just because things seem to be so chaotic. And he doesn't necessarily see a way out. But I do think that he prays for a future with you. Yeah, he is detached everywhere. He is detached. Well, he can't let himself connect. Do you see what I'm saying? Because with this situation over here, where he's got the physical commitment taking place, right? He's not necessarily emotionally invested in the space because he's already committed, or connected emotionally in a space with you, but he can't really fulfill that space that he's connected to with you, right? So it's just, unfortunately, all of his energy is going into career and finances. Like, he's working at that foundation. He's working at building, I guess, that stability. And I think one of the things with the situation as well is because, and let me give this aspect of the situation to you as well. I think that he feels as though if he can get himself into a certain position, of comfort financially as well, if he makes that decision to remove himself from the poor decision, I guess, of committing to something that he wasn't emotionally connected to. I think he feels like if he can get himself in a position financially, he'll be respected enough to the point that if he makes that decision to disconnect from that physical commitment, the disappointment won't be so strong to the point where he's kind of cut off, basically, if that makes sense. So I think that he's just kind of like trying to work through his paces with the situation. Oh, see you, T. Thank you for stopping into the room, beautiful. We loved your energy and your space. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing. I think it's one of those things. Oh, hey, MMJ. You came back in and T's just left. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things where the finance is like the main thing. It doesn't mean that he doesn't still have those feelings and connections for you, I think the main focus is that he has to get his coins right for it to make sense. Do you see what I'm saying? For it to make sense. You are still on his mind. I think it's something that he does think about a lot. He's not as optimistic at the possibility of how things could potentially play out, presumably because he doesn't necessarily know where you're at. Um, yeah. But for the most part, so good. So good, T. It's so good. Thank you for sharing this space with us, man. This is a very, very tricky situation for you guys, Mina. It is a significant waiting game. Um, sometimes there is I can't even call it stalking. There's just a yearning. I don't want to call it stalking because I don't think that it feels like maybe that's the place that it's coming from, or that's the act that's taking place. Let me put it like that. That's the act that's taking place, but it's more of a yearning. Sometimes he misses you. And that's a way for him to still feel connected with the situation. Okay. I hope that that was useful for you, though, Mina. I'm so sorry for, I guess, the challenges and the tribulations that you guys are kind of like going through at the minute. I know it's very, very tricky. It's all good. It's all good, Mina. That's all good. Thank you for sharing your space with us. It's all good. Thank you guys for just being so open with us. Honestly, I don't know if you guys sort of like do make the coming back together, but I do see that there's a real, I guess, connection that's still kind of like there's a gravitational pull towards each other. But yeah, man. Thank you, Mina. Lots of love and prayers your way as well, beautiful man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Right, let's have a little look and see who is on the list. Next, we've got Kiara. Kiara XO. Yeah, that's okay, beautiful. That's okay. Thank you, man. Kiara XO, you are next on the list, my love. Drop in your question and let us unpack it for you if you're still in the room. Oh yes, you are still in the room. Okay, awesome. Thank you for that, my love. What are Tashan's feelings and actions towards me? I know he's been talking about me to others, wondering what he's been saying. Okay. Okay. Well, good. Oh, good. All right, let's have a little look and unpack this. Let's get some clarity. So, Kiara, let's see. We want to know what Tashan's feelings and actions are towards Kiara because there's a lack of clarity, but there's a sense and feeling intuitively of a presence. So, clarify. Okay, thank you. So, what I'm seeing with the situation here for you, mm, mm. The situation with Tashawn, right? There's some, I want to say there's like a really bad taste. There's a really, really bad taste. They're kind of they're not necessarily at a place like before. How can I put it? Before they were at a place where they were like wanting to avoid conflict. And there was some tension. It seems like there was some tensions kind of like brewing beneath the surface with you guys. I don't know what the tension was around as far as the dynamic that you guys were experiencing, but I want to say that they're low-key wearing a little bit of a mask around you now. There's some feelings that they have that they're not necessarily kind of like discussing directly with you. What I'm seeing is that some of the things that they're kind of saying, let's clarify this. Sorry, I want to clarify this right here. Let's get some more clarity on this. You guys are going in on the chat. I love it. Right. Let's get some clarity on that. Okay. Okay. By the sounds of it, right? So what they're showing me with the situation is that this person's kind of did you do something to them? And I have to ask the question because I feel like there's low-key bitterness to this situation. I want to understand what the bitterness is about because it seems as though to your face everything's fine, but there's something that they haven't necessarily I feel like there's something that hasn't necessarily been forgiven. Let me know, Kiara. I want to get some clarity on that. Is there something in the dynamics that could have caused them to be a little bit bitter? Because what I'm seeing is that they're basically putting it off on you. There's certain things that they're actually saying because they feel like you y'all are my people. I can't lie. Honestly, I think it was today that I was actually having a conversation with my mister saying, my mouth. I think I said too much. Yeah, I know it's one of those things like being honest actually comes with its own trials and tribulations, actually, because truth hurts and all that lot. Okay. Yeah. Well, now the thing about the situation is he's actually spinning the narrative that you're the one that's actually creating the conflict. So what was taking place is that he was actually causing this, how can I put it? There was already conflict that was taking place emotionally because he was being emotionally manipulative and abusive. Because he was almost doing like a whole bunch of gaslighting series of events, and it was like, I know he ain't playing with me. Like, it's one of those types of situations. Is what I'm guessing, right? Snap. Hey, Thunderbird. Welcome to the space. We've actually closed the list for the night. We've been going for a good couple of hours now. So, yeah. Thank you, T. But yeah, with this situation, Kira, it seems as though they're now going around sort of like painting you out as the villain with this situation, but they were actually doing a lot of manipulative, underhanded shit beneath the scene. And I had to call it shit because it was shitty what they were doing. It was like a lot of underhanded, manipulative, dark energy-based behavior. And kudos to you for calling them out on it because, the best thing that you could do. I don't regret anything I said because it was very true. Everything I said, I told him he was manipulative and he plays victim. That's what's up. Okay. That's what's up. But mind you, he's definitely gone into that narrative. He's manipulated you, kind of, done this whole emotional abusive kind of gameplay with you, and now he's gone off to go and play the victim by making you the villain for calling him out on his shit. So it's all good. It's just a natural occurrence of his dynamics, a natural occurrence of the patterns that he plays, a natural occurrence of the darkness within his heart that he's here to work on. That's between him and God. So we'll let him have it. Just let him have it. He's gonna keep going around and talking a whole bunch of BS. That's his pattern. It's not surprising. This is his character. This is the nature of his character. You just so happen to be somebody else who is basically been cut with that that blade, the blade of that narrative. As he writes the pen and writes you in as another villain in the story, he takes no accountability for how he actually did show up in the dynamic with you guys. And it's just easier for him to do it that way, because then he doesn't actually have to look in the mirror at the arsehole that he actually is, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah, guys, the list is closed. All good. Literally, come back into the space next week, 9:30. Actually, guys, I don't know if I'm actually going to be here in the space next Friday at 9:30. It might be Saturday again, because I did mention that I'm doing the Taurus full moon event. So I'm actually doing that here on StreamYard. So you guys can email me. You guys can actually get tickets pretty much, because it's a Facebook, it's connected through my Facebook as well event. You guys can get tickets for that. We'll be talking all things astrology, how to work with some of the energies, how to kind of disseminate and deprogram from some of the poverty consciousness aspects of stuff. But if you guys are interested, my email is kind of scrolling across the screen right there. So I think you guys will be able to get all the details on when I'm going to be back into the space anyways, because I'll schedule it beforehand. It may be Friday or Saturday. Forgot about that. But that's going to be an interesting space, guys. So, yeah. It's okay, beautiful. I think my schedule tomorrow is a little bit more flexible, so that's all good. We can really kind of dive into some stuff tomorrow. Depends on timing for tomorrow. That's his feelings towards you, my love. I'm sorry. His feelings towards you is not about you. His feelings towards you are about his pattern. His feelings towards you is that you basically called him out on the things that he was doing. And in most cases, the whole point of a hidden agenda is to have that shit hidden. And you were out here waving the flag, which pretty much had all of the stuff that he's actually out here doing. So I think it's just one of those situations where I don't think that I think that there's also a way to be able to handle situations, but I think what we have to remember is that we meet people where they're at. So I don't necessarily know that if you had basically come forward and addressed it in a more tactful way, that he would have been receptive anyways, because he was just so deep in denial. He was ready to continue with the narrative of this dynamic, this manipulate and then victimize himself narrative that he continues to perpetuate. So you just so happen to be, how can I put it, another notch on the narrative of that game, unfortunately. But for right now, he's now putting the blame on you and making you the villain, so that he can go back into this light of being yeah, she's a problem, not me. Okay, but you don't even have to take that personal, because clearly you identified that that's a pattern that they have, so you can't even take it I'm not going to say you can't take it personal, but you really should try not to take it too personal, because clearly this is just the engagement of a broken person. And this is what it's like engaging with a broken person that is basically not even in one, awareness consciously, and two, they're not even in acceptance of the reality that this is a part of their nature. Do you see what I'm saying? You actually did yourself a favor. There you go. Exactly. You tried that one, it didn't work. He needed this one because he wasn't getting any truth coming through. And eventually, despite how you put it, it's already been planted in the back of his subconscious mind. It will eventually sort of come to seed and light. Okay? Don't worry about it. You're good. Love is definitely pretty challenging sometimes to navigate through, for real, for real. Let's have a little look and see who's on the list next, guys. Let's see. All right. Who is next on the list? Let's see. Archangel Shamuel. Let me have a little look and peep at the list. Oh damn, are we out of the list? What did happen? Ah, who was after you, Kira? Hey, Shanta, welcome to the room, beautiful. Unfortunately, we've kind of closed the list. Yeah, there you go. See, the guys are letting you know where we're at. But tune in, like and sub, and you'll actually be notified of when I do go live next week. I'm here with you guys pretty much every week, unpacking our our classes. Oh, damn. All right. Oh, is it YouTube's go? Okay, look at that. We're coming to the end, guys. YouTube and Angel. That's how it's done. YouTube's like, I'm her. Okay. Thank you, YouTube. We appreciate you. Let's get it up on screen. Will Lucy ever become my friend again? If yes, then when? Will I improve my grades this year? All right. You're doing too much, my YouTube. You're doing too much. Chill out. We'll go with one question at a time. Which question's actually more important to you? Because we're closing out the space now. It's a one question reading. If you want more than one question answered, you check out the details in the description. No, you're good. No need to apologize. No need to apologize. It's a learning process, right? We're all sort of like grasping. You're good. You're good. So which question do you feel like, yeah, you can donate or book an appointment to kind of really dive in and unpack certain things as well. That's also another option. Sometimes I have to oh snap. The Lucy question. Okay, because I feel like that's probably like the most imminent question on your heart at the minute as well. All right, so Lucy, what do you see sort of transpiring between my YouTube account? What do you see? Them and Lucy. Friendship. What do you see happening with the friendship dynamic? And let's be very clear about it, okay? Okay, give us some more clarity. What does that mean? Okay. Oh, ow. Okay. The answer here, looking at the situation, my love, is It's not going to be anytime soon. I don't think that they're ready to kind of come back into relationship dynamic just yet. Um, I don't think that they're open to the possibility just yet. There's still like love there, and they do miss you. Um, oh, why? What's going on? What? Okay, snap. Look at that. I didn't even like finish reading the thing on the screen. It wasn't until T sort of like pointed that out. Um, You're not as cold as you think you are, T. You pick up on a lot of things. Snap is just kind of, I guess, what you kind of feel that you want to sort of engage with. But what I'm seeing on the cards here is that they're not ready for a friendship dynamic anytime soon. It seems as though I don't know why the friendship broke down, but it seems as though they missed the times that you guys shared. How long were you guys friends for? Give us some insight. How long were you guys friends for? Because I do see that you guys will be able to recover, but it's not going to be like a, how can I put it? Like, okay, about a year. Okay. Hmm. They do miss you, but for the most part, they're actually at the place right now, even though they're tempted as well. They're at the place right now where they're just kind of like, yeah, yeah. Um, are you okay to kind of, are you okay to, how can I put it? Are you okay to be okay without that relationship? Like, because from what I'm seeing is that you'll be able to kind of, you'll be able to persevere regardless of the odds of the situation. Um, but at the minute, I don't necessarily see it as something that you don't need to be in the space. Yeah. You don't need to be in the space, and they don't necessarily need to be in the space. I don't think that you guys have anything that you can give or pour into each other positively at this point. And I think I'm going to put it like this to you. I think if you were to continue to be in that dynamic, you would be selling yourself short. Um, yeah, you may want to look at and this is going to be me having like a personal moment with you here. You may want to look at your need for approval. You may want to look at your need for approval from other people and kind of like work at maybe identifying some of the things that you like and appreciate and admire about yourself to help you build your approval for yourself so that you can get that personality type a little bit more in balance. Um, Another thing that I would say on the illness stuff, um, you probably need to email me to kind of like go deeper into that. But how can I put it? You're in hypervigilance mode at the minute. So a lot of the times when we find ourselves kind of like manifesting certain illnesses, it means our fear radar is basically like going mad. Fear is in the back of our mind saying, look at that, oh that, like there's a lot of things going on. And we kind of like have to learn how to get things I guess in a balanced level. It's kind of like viruses. So on the illness situation, that's just because you tend to be a little bit of a worrier as well. And you're weighing down your body with a lot of the worries that you're carrying. Let this friendship go. It's already ended. You don't need to carry any regrets for it. Sometimes rejection, every time. In fact, rejection is God's protection. Potentially, the person doesn't no longer has good intentions towards you. Um, is it possible to manage intelligence? Yes, it is. what it is that at the minute as well, we're going through like a lot of upgrading at the minute mentally. So we are getting a lot of intellectual reprogramming as well, because we're going into Sagittarius season next as well. So we're getting a lot of philosophical upgrades as well. So we are receiving a lot more downloads at the minute, and it can get very overwhelming. And it can be a lot on the nervous system. And when the nervous system starts to get hypersensitive and hypervigilant, it is possible to manifest intelligence. It is possible to manifest intelligence. It's not far-fetched. To be fair, I'll tell you how you actually help yourself to manifest intelligence. Get more connected to your guides, because they actually have so much access to so much information. So that's how you do that one, actually. And in the time that you allow for yourself to get more connected to your guides so that they can share their wisdom and intellect with you, you can also allow for yourself to, I guess, learn how to balance out some of, because what I found when like I was getting like all of the downloads and I wasn't necessarily ready, because that can happen as well. Your human hasn't been optimized for that level of downloading streaming. Okay. And when you kind of like find yourself in those types of dynamics, it can be very overwhelming. Like I said, to the nervous system, and then that depletes the immune system. So you kind of have to make sure that you're optimizing your body and optimizing your human. You have to build your self-confidence in the process. You build intelligence develops. Maybe you can manifest time to and high awareness. Absolutely. Because the thing about it is, right, and this is the thing that I want to sort of like put across to people, right? Within our subconscious mind, we actually have all the answers for everything. And when I say all the answers for everything, it doesn't necessarily mean the right answer. It means the answer that you need to be aware of then. It's about getting more connected to your subconscious mind. It's about getting more connected to the archiving of information. I'll put it to you like this, for instance. Archangel Chamuel is very good at finding. If I ever want to find information, I utilize Archangel Chamuel. Why? That's his purpose. That's his job. That's what he's been designed for. That's what he does in the Arcanian realms. He is connected to the solar plexus, which is for manifesting. So when you find yourself, first of all, you need to start affirming that you're actually intelligent, and you'll find that you start to embody that vibration by naturally just getting more receptive to the downloads that are naturally flowing through your subconscious mind, and learning how to bring those to the forefront of your conscious mind, which is the browser screen, the subconscious mind being the hard drive. When you learn how to engage with these two aspects, I guess, of your mind itself, intelligence is something that you become. It's not even something that you have to manifest. You just become. You become the intelligence that naturally already flows through you, essentially. Okay. But I hope that answers your question and gives you all the insight that you need. On that note, we're going to go on to our final person tonight. Definitely join the party. Definitely going to join the party, man. Last question tonight. I think the final person that we have tonight is, sure you guys, Angel. If you're still in the building, Angel, drop it on us like it's hot. Okay, let's unpack your question and close out the space for tonight. And thank you for stopping into the space with us. Okay, let's get Angel's question up on screen. Okay. Which is destined to be the final outcome between Lucas Sana and Jose Daniel Martin in this lifetime? Marriage, engagement, final breakup, thanks. He's a close friend. I am worried. Okay, so you want to see like You trying to ask me to go and look at somebody else's face? That's okay. Give me a minute, okay? Because this is an ethical and morality complex for me. So let me allow for myself to be open and move that boundary back just a smidge so that I can actually create some space to receive this download as well. Oh my God. I'm coming back to you here, Angel, but I'm going to sort of like touch in on something that MMJ is sort of like putting out there in the space. I'm dyslexic. Okay. Dyslexia is simply a way of saying that your mind is not necessarily your neuro, how can I put it? You are more of a neurodivergent mind. Okay. You're not an atypical mind in terms of the way that your mind works. Your mind doesn't naturally receive information in the same way that everybody else's mind does in certain situations. You're not dumb. You're actually very intelligent. You have to learn how to work with your genius. That's all it is. You have to learn how to work. Because for myself, I found that it was difficult because I'm constantly open to different channels of thoughts all the time, and I was constantly getting downloads. So it was difficult for me to actually be present in just myself because I'm present overall. But dyslexia doesn't necessarily mean that you're stupid. It actually means that you actually have a very adept point of view and perspective and level of genius. You just have to learn how to work with that level of your genius. You have a neurodivergent mind, so you have to learn to work with the so what I found is that I had to learn what type of learner I was as well. I'm not necessarily I learned that I wasn't necessarily the type of learner to just be told things. I'm a practical learner for one. I'm a visual learner for two. I'm not so much an auditory sensory learner. So you have to learn your learning techniques basically to learn how to optimize your genius because you don't learn the same way that everybody else does in the environments that you experience, I guess, in your learning. It gave you this narrative that you're dumb, but you're actually not dumb. You just have a different learning style. Once you find the learning style, you'll actually you'll ace that shit, man. Trust me. Because I went through the same shit. I'm like, oh my God, I'm saving it. Not at all. Not at all. I actually learned that I was very, very intelligent. I just didn't know how to make my intelligence speak for itself because it didn't resonate or reflect the same archetype of intelligence as everyone else around me at the time. Okay, so figure out what your learning techniques are and really, really dive into it. Now, thank you for that as well. That was a nice distraction why I broadened my horizons to basically look into somebody else's face who ain't even here. That is a moral dilemma for me. I can't lie, Angel. I generally don't like to look into people's faces without their genuine consent. It's something that me and my guides kind of have in place. So there's no backlash as far as negative karma. Oh, that's okay. I love you too, man. Trust me. We will need each other out here in these streets. Learn yourself though. Learn your human and how your human works. And trust me, you'll have a proper breakthrough. Proper breakthrough. Right. They are the dummies. So let's see. Lucas, Serena, and Jose Danielle Martin. What do you see unfolding for them in terms of their romance? Angel, heart of gold. She's here to request on their behalf, and it comes from a place of genuine concern. So show us. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Right. What I'm seeing with the dynamic here, it's not necessarily going to be as bad as you think. Let me just clarify a little bit more because basically at the minute, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. Right, guys. Clarify. Let's have a little look and see. Thank you. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say this to you. I understand why you're concerned, Angel. Okay, because I'm shuffling the cards and I'm over here having like a whole conversation with my guides and everything. But I do understand why you are concerned. There's a little bit of coldness. There's a little bit of, for lack of a better way of putting it, like bitchy tendencies, emotional codependency, and a lot of insecurities in the situation. Um, so I really do. Well, this is why I understand why you're concerned, because there's a lot of insecurities and a lot of emotional volatility with the situation that may have a likelihood to cause a lot of like just foul behavior play in the dynamics. But I do see them actually being able to make things work. Now, this is a situation I feel like the love potentially is strong enough to endure a lot. I don't know if they actually make it to marriage, but I do see that there is talks of marriage. I do see that. And why I say that I don't know if they make it to marriage is because um, there's a lot of personality clashes that makes it very difficult for them on the journey towards marriage. Um, but they do need to get a lot of their insecurities in check. The way that they talk to each other sometimes is out of pocket. It's not cool. It's not great, which is why it is a little bit concerning, kind of thinking whether or not you want your friend to kind of like be in this space and in this situation. Um, I do find that there's a little bit of manipulation kind of like taking place here as well with the situation. I do see a long-term relationship. I do see a long-term relationship. I want to say at least 2 years, 8 months, maybe hitting the 3 year mark. I don't know. The relationship dynamic starts to go through a transition around about that period. Um, yeah, the relationship starts to go through a transition around about that period, but there's a lot of toxicity in the space and in the waters within that 2 years and 8 months of this dynamic kind of playing out. They do need to get themselves in a healthy situation, because I see that that's like really the main thing. That's really the main thing here. They actually have to learn how to be like healthy in navigating through the relationship dynamic and the situations. 3 years is maximum. Beautiful. 3 years is maximum, from what I can see. Hey, Andrea. Unfortunately, we're actually closing out. I'm literally just reading for the last person now. But tune in next week. I'll put the link out. I can't actually even say next Friday now because I don't know. But what I will say to you, Angel, is that you can be a support for your friend as they navigate through some of the toxicity in the waters of this situation, because I can see that it is something that is going to be difficult for them to navigate through. So they are going to need your support. I will tell you that much. Like, they really actually are going to need your support. Okay. No, unfortunately, beautiful. We're literally closing up the space now. I've literally been here for 3 hours, my love. Tune in next week, unfortunately, and we'll be able to unpack it for you. Okay. If it's still on your heart, if it's still in your dome by then, we'll be able to unpack it for you. Okay. Thank you so much, my love. All right, guys, we got through the night tonight. honestly, thank you guys so much for stopping into the space and just sharing your spaces with me. Like I said as well, guys, I know that there's a lot kind of like going on, and we're navigating through the energies of like this Scorpio new moon upgrade to basically prepare us for the Sagittarius season, where we're going to be able to see a lot of these philosophical shifts actually grounding in our reality, and actually seeing a lot of these changes that we've been starting to make, and actually seeing how they're slowly showing up in our reality. So just ride the waves. Like, I know it's intense. I know that there's a lot sort of like taking place. I know that it's emotionally exhausting as well with all these upgrades that are taking place, because God is asking so much of us in terms of our personal growth and development at this stage. But if you guys are interested, like I said, jump on my email and pretty much let me know if you guys are interested in attending the Taurus full moon event. Honestly, you did great with your readings. Thank you for telling me about dyslexia and giving me the confidence. It means a lot. All good, all good. Thank you. Thank you. We love your vibes, Em. Definitely come back and engage with us. I'm going to love you guys and leave it there. If you guys are interested, like I said, in attending the Taurus full moon, we're going to be doing lots, actually. We're going to be sort of breaking down some of our belief systems around money and stability and foundations, and really decompartmentalizing some of the beliefs around our personal identity that are no longer serving us, and really kind of updating some of those programming. So if you guys are interested, drop me an email, and I'll see you guys in that space next Friday, and then I'll clarify the schedule for this space next week. But yeah, thank you guys for just being so awesome and being so loving, and just being so forthcoming. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for hanging out with me this Saturday as well. I wasn't sure who was going to be in the space because I got the day off yesterday, but thank you guys for showing up for me when I bothered to turn up for work today. Okay. On that note, I'm gonna love you guys and leave it there for you guys. I will see you guys, I guess, next week for more of the unfoldings, right? Hang in there, guys. I'll see you guys.
Said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head, and tend to keep her mind at war. All the things I said to hold her back, they keep her locked inside of all the times when she's been hurt before.
Ta-ra, guys. See you guys next week. Mwah. God bless.